Hi, this is Isabelle Litzler, the place to be to develop your skills and grow your potential. So I've been away for a while, taking care of some things and also working on my book. It will come out next year, probably first quarter of next year. So this book is how to become a recruiter magnet. So I think a lot of you would probably be interested in knowing all the things that are in this book. So I will talk more about it as I'm advancing the project, but this is what I'm busy working on right now. So trying to keep the schedule of 2 videos per week, but might be that some weeks I only do 1 video depending on the time that I have available. But again, I'm very busy with this and of course delivering value for my clients, etc. So it's going to be a busy fall starting for me. But I wanted to answer to some queries that I've seen in the videos where people are asking about what are some of the opportunities in Switzerland based on a certain job or certain field. So I see a lot of questions like, what about medical field? What about nursing? What about marketing, etc. So I want you to deconstruct a little bit this question, because we are really now, and you've heard probably this term now, we're really in the new normal now. That's what the word that's used post-COVID, or I wouldn't say post-COVID because we're still in it. We're in a world where things are changing very fast. I mean, you've seen probably a lot of industries now are completely changing the way they work. They might actually work completely differently altogether. So the skills that they may have needed 6 months ago may not be relevant anymore. So that's why I really thought about those questions, and rather than to tell you, okay, if you're in marketing, this is the path to find a job in Switzerland. If you're in finance, this is the path, etc. I really thought about these questions, and I thought rather than to tell you this, I prefer you deconstruct this whole thing about field and opportunity. I want you to look at it more as, okay, the world is changing as we're speaking. You know, what is the market need and how can I offer my services? So more like completely take some height a little bit and see, okay, what are the needs right now during this crisis where there's some skills that are relevant and how can I match this? So I'm going to give you 3 tips on how to do this so that you also become a little bit more independent rather than to stay stuck on this whole idea of job title and field. You think more about market need and market offer. So the first thing that you need to do is to look at the general Swiss job market right now. And you need to do this on a regular basis because remember what I just said, the market is changing very fast right now under our eyes. So something that may be right a certain week may not be 2 weeks later, because again, things are moving very quickly. Companies are closing doors, they're laying off people. Some things may disappear altogether because there's no longer a need for them. So you just have to be very reactive in this market, to be very adaptive. So I want to teach you more to be adaptive, to think quick on your feet in terms of finding opportunities. And I will link another video I made called Creating Opportunities. To think quickly on your feet and say, okay, with what I know, with the skills that I have, how can I plug into something right now? So the first tip I want to give is, again, look at the job market. So I will post below 3 links. It gives you a good idea of the Swiss market. So they're mostly aggregators, they're called. So they pull the jobs from everywhere, you know, companies and, you know, the websites, etc. They're called aggregators. So the 2 big ones that I know of is Indeed.ch, and you have another one called Talent. Talent, right now its old name was Nouveau.ch. They may not have a lot in Switzerland, so I just want you to try this one. And also the other one is Jobs and JobUp. Those are the 2 Swiss for the German part and the French part. So if you have those 4 job boards, I think you can do a good job in finding out what are some of the positions available right now in Switzerland. What are some of the companies hiring? So that's your first job, is to really take a broad view. And again, I don't want you to type any type of job title or field at this stage. Just look at Switzerland as a whole. You know, what are some of the companies that are still hiring, you know, during this crisis? My last search that I've done, there's a lot of tech opportunities, a lot of engineering, etc. Those still hire. So again, it's not going to be every single field that is hiring, but that's quite to be expected, because it's probably the same in your home country or everywhere else in the world. As I just said, probably you won't find a lot of job openings working for airlines or for all these things. So you just have to be aware of that the market is changing quickly and that you have to adapt. So the first task that you need to do is look at the job market in Switzerland. Number two is the next stage is to type the job title that you're looking for in the same job boards to see if there's anything at all that pops up, whether it be in the German part or the French part of Switzerland, or the Italian part for that matter. You just want to see, is there anything that's popping up? And again, probably most of you are looking for English-speaking jobs. So that adds a layer of need, that you're looking for something where English is only language needed, or maybe there's some other languages, but not very essential. So that limits also your scope in terms of what you can apply for, and you need to be aware of that. So by doing this work, and I do this work all the time because I want people to be aware before they get into education, before they get into certification, before they invest time, effort, money, all these things into one specific field. I really want them to be aware of the job market needs. And I do understand the whole thing about, go where your heart is and the money will follow, or something like that. I do understand this. I think you need to like your job. But at the same time, right now, people will have to take a little bit of, again, a higher approach, take a little bit of perspective and say, you know what, we're in a crisis situation right now. The job market is changing very quickly. I need to adapt very quickly, and maybe, just maybe right now, go where the heart will follow is not the main thing. I mean, right now the main thing is to find something where I can pay my rent and maybe still do the things that I like, but on the side. So I always tell people there's nothing, absolutely nothing, that prevents you from doing the things that you love. Even starting, I just posted something today on my Facebook. You can start your own gig. And my biggest video that I've made up to date, where I had over 40,000 views, is all about that. It's about starting your own thing, so you don't have to worry about finding a job hunting, and all these things. So that's always there for you to focus on what you like. Try some things on the side, maybe build your own need on the market. But that's a whole different scope of skills there, where you talk to the market, you build the need, or you work with a few clients, etc., maybe online. That's for people who are more on the entrepreneurship side. And again, this is not everybody that's watching this video, but that's always there. But going back more to the traditional opportunities with the corporate sectors. So again, type the job titles on the job boards, type to see if there's anything that pops up. And you have to be very honest with yourself. If there's only 1 or 2 jobs that pop up, that's the reality of the market. And the third thing that you need to do is compare this market to see if there's any opportunities, any potential for you. So you want to compare the skills that you have, what you can offer, and the job market, and see the gap, so then you can really, really understand what's going on. So again, you can say, there's absolutely nothing for my skills in Switzerland. Do I want to retrain in something? Knowing that I always say you want to come to Switzerland with experience, with something that you know very well, where you have credibility, etc. So I never advise people to do a career change when they first come to Switzerland. Maybe later, once you've worked a few years and you're established and now you want to try something new, that's fine. But to enter Switzerland, it's better to do it with something that is something you master, something you're good at, and you have credibility. But if this thing doesn't exist, so let's say you're a great admin assistant, you've worked many years, you speak, let's say, at least 2 languages, or you're a great manager and you've managed, facilities, etc., restaurants, let's say you've managed restaurant chains, but you know what, there's no need right now, there's no opportunities, there's no openings at the moment, then, what do you do? So I would say in this case, try to start something where you are, And then once you're established into this new thing that you do in your home country, then you want to maybe look at the Swiss market. But to try to enter the Swiss market doing something completely different and new will be complicated. Now, if you're following a partner and you're in Switzerland anyways, and you have time to think about these things, to look at different strategies, to look at different trainings, to see maybe you invest in something different, but you would have to assess what this thing is. And before you jump into the first thing that you see online, oh, let me register for this education, I would say, what do you want to do now based on what you've seen on the market? So if you've seen, for example, and I'm using this because I saw this recently, there's a lot of need for Scrum Masters now, which is basically project management, and you want to invest in something that's going to qualify you for this, then I would say it's probably a good idea because there's a market need. But if you go for something else that you haven't checked, again, remember my step number 1, you haven't validated that there's a need for it, that it is in demand on the market, then you're just going into another hole there. So before you jump from one hole to the other hole, make sure that you validated this first state, that there's demand, that there's need based in this economy right now where things are getting digitalized, where everything is going online. Again, I would probably think more in this direction if I was to shift my career right now. Go with something where there's demand, so you don't have to actually heavily sell yourself. So that would be my last words for this video. Again, check the links below of the job boards and also my other video called Creating Opportunities. I will talk to you soon. Feel free to post your questions below, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.